Hey, what's going on, everybody? Movie Fam here, and yes, been gone for a couple days. Not gonna lie, it's been nice. Got yesterday off. Best thing about Good Friday is the fact that, like, my factory job just lets me off, so thank you, Jesus. I appreciate it. So yes, but here I am, back with another double feature. And if you read the little description, be down below. This week, be hitting up The Last Shark and Scared Stiff. Kind of an odd combination there, but yeah, fuck it, let's do it. That's what I'm all about. That is what I'm all about. Not meeting expectations at all, just fucking going off, you know, left field every now and then. So at first, we got The Last Shark, which, if you've seen Jaws, you've pretty much seen The Last Shark. Sort of. The basic premise of The Last Shark is a giant killer shark, great white shark, shows up and starts fucking killing people in this ocean. I forget exactly where it takes place at. I'm not sure. It is an Italian horror film. Of course, it's dubbed and everything. There's like, I don't know, 7 titles to this. It's also known as The Great White, The Last Shark. I think it's called The Great White Shark. I don't know. There's a few other titles. In fact, it was so similar to Jaws that in a lot of foreign markets, they literally would just promote it as a sequel to Jaws. So it was, in some areas, it's called, like, you know, The Final Jaws or Jaws 2 or whatever the case may be. But more on that in a second. So I came across this pic and I was like, let me check this thing out. So I watched it. And yeah, it is pretty fucking ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. Directed by the same guy who directed the original Inglourious Basterds. And, you know, a slew of other, you know, just crazy genre B-pics. And this is no different. Yeah, like I said, for the most part, I mean, it is literally just almost down to the wire. Just a replication of Jaws. And so much, in fact, that when they tried to release it here in America, it had a very, very brief run. If I'm mistaken, I think maybe, or if I'm not mistaken, I think maybe like a week. And Spielberg / Universal Studios was like, no, cut that shit off right now. And they did. They got sued, yeah. That was the main thing, because it was literally just so freaking ridiculous. It was like Jaws, but it's almost like, you know, like in Jaws, how they couldn't get the mechanical shark to work. So they decided to use suspense to kind of... Imagine that, like a shark that doesn't really work that well, but they just go ahead and show it anyways. Some of the best scenes in here, for me, because I'm not gonna lie, when I first started watching, because I didn't know what to exactly expect. I was like, you know, clearly I've never heard of this movie before, which don't really mean anything. But I was like, you know, typically if I hear about it, I mean, there's got to be some kind of, you know, thing with it. So I was like, I don't know how good it's going to be. And I have a fear of sharks. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I literally... Like, I know even during, like, Sharknado, they do some underwater sequences. Before I knew how cheesy Sharknado was going to be graphically, I was still kind of tensing up. Like, you know, I don't want a shark flying at me at the screen. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's what it's going to be. Well, fuck it, we're good then. So I did something here. There's a lot of scenes underwater. And I kept thinking to myself, like, you know, it's got to be pretty low budget. It looks cheap anyways. You're not going to get a whole lot of glory shots of this shark. It just ain't going to happen. And it's true. Like, the very first scene, the kid who is I don't know, sail surfing, wind sail surfing. It's like the surfboard with the fucking sail on it, and, you know, I don't know what it's called, but I'm sure you guys do. They're doing that shit, and he just gets taken out. Literally, he gets, like, launched, like, you know, something hits him underwater and launches him, and then he disappears. Just brutal. This shark is just such a killing machine. So, basically, when that happens, they decide to... They got a big race coming up with that wind sailing shit, surf sailing, whatever you want to call it. So they decide to put the, you know, fences up around the entire lake, or ocean, this area of ocean, the bay, if you will. And they got guards and everything right there, but the shark, of course, gets through and just starts fucking demolishing. And they never really, like, eats anybody. It just, like, it just goes by and, like, knocks them off their surfboard. But, like, no one gets killed hardly at all. Like, literally, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. I'm like, I was expecting it to be, like, just a fucking bloodbath. No, none. But the best scenes were when you did see the shark. Because it really only had, like, one position, and it was coming out of the water. So, like, what you'd get is, you know, a person gets, like, knocked off his board, he falls in the water, he's like, oh, swimming. And then you would see the shark, literally, like the Universal shark, you know, at the ride, Universal Studios, how the shark kind of comes up. It just does that. So, like, here's the guy swimming. He's like, oh, I'm swimming. And then, underwater, and he goes, comes up, like not even like looking at it, okay, just comes up, so fucking fake looking, roars. I shit you not, this thing, roar, you know, cause that's what sharks do. And then it just goes back under, like, it just as mechanical as it came up, just back under, and then the guy, he gets taken down. Fucking awesome. It really is. There's a scene where, this rich dude's kid went out there, and I don't know if the kid got killed or if it caused his son going out on the boat caused someone to die. I can't remember how it goes, but either way, it caused the girl to get her leg ripped off. A lot of leg getting taken off. Like, it seems like everybody goes out there, gets their legs ripped off. Like, there's like 2 or 3 scenes of like them pulling somebody out of the water, like different scenes, not even connected, but just like they pull someone out of the water and it's just like they got like bloody stumps. It's just freaking hilarious. There is no other, like, you know, mutilation like that. Just the legs. Just legs on. Like, this shark has a taste for legs. The last shark has a taste for legs. So as they're, you know, pulling out. But anyways, this rich dude gets on his, like, private helicopter, and his buddy go out there, and they're going to, you know, fucking look for his shark. And then they see, of course, the shark swimming up on top, you know, and they're like, yeah, there he is. So, he's got this, like, carcass on the thing. And that's the thing, they keep cutting to okay, it's always either POV shots, you know, from the shark's point of view, or this ridiculous mechanical shark that comes out, to just stock footage of random, and they vary in size. And even like one shark at one point was attacking this cage, which we're led to believe is like, it's the cage you put up. It has like this weird scarring on its face, and then like it goes to another shark altogether that doesn't. And you're like, really? And they even make a comment, because there's a scene where they're filming, there's a film crew there, and of course when they're filming it, there's a whole, because they're filming for the race, but the guy's like, he's just like, I want to see the shark attack. And the guy makes a comment like, well, can't we just like splice in like stock footage of sharks? And he's like, no, they'll know the difference. Haha, clever. Because you're right, we could. But anyway, so the guy's on the boat, or he's on the helicopter. Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked from that. And he's got the carcass and he lowers it in there. He's like fishing for the shark. I don't know what his fucking plan was. I really don't. But the shark grabs the meat and starts pulling him. And then finally he gets pulled into the water. And the thing is, like, it's one of those things where he starts getting pulled. The shark comes up mechanically, roar, goes back down, and then pulls him in all the way, right? And of course, there's a scene where he's hanging on. I think he's hanging on, and when they lift it up, his legs are gone. I'm pretty sure that's it. But the guy who's on the helicopter, he's down pretty low now. He's trying to save his boss or whatever. And then he's a quick cut, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I get it. It's low budget, but you just see him in the helicopter. And then you see the quick shot of the shark coming back up, same position as always, just, and then it just cuts to this toy, like, miniature helicopter in the water, like, getting pulled into it, and that's it. Shark claims another victim. But yeah, and so literally the entire movie, because at that point on, you start seeing the shark more and more, but it's the same fucking, and, you know, back down. It's awesome. There's a scene where, they're on a pier. I forget what they're doing now, because the race is fucking over, but somehow they're still like fucking around in the water. It's just like any other, like when animals attack movies, where they're just like, we know there's a shark out there, but we're not going to stop partying, or whatever the case was. But they're all on like this little raft thing, or it's a pier. It's like a dock, but somehow it's out in the middle of the ocean, and anyway, it's sinking, and there's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 people on it, and the shark just comes up, roar. And then I guess there was another shark that would like attack the thing. And it was that bad Spielberg because as much as I love Jaws, and I know everybody's like, well, for its time, okay, I get it for its time. It's still fun to watch because that shark had no emotion at all. Like, I don't know. I know it's like, it's supposed to be an emotionless killing machine, but I don't care. I want to see some kind of like facial movement. It was just like, you know, and so this one's just like a robot too, just like literally just bouncing into the thing. And then, of course, someone would fall off, and he would pop up, roar, and then go back down, and that person would get pulled right under. Yeah, it's pretty good. There's a scene where these 2 people are going to go kill the shark. And what happens is, one of them has, he takes like this C4 with him. Like, he's like, I guess he's going to throw the bomb at him, or I don't know, they're underwater. I don't know how close he's going to fucking get, or if he was planning on sacrificing himself, or whatever the case was, he had C4 strapped to his chest conveniently. Well, in the movie, the shark picks up this, like, he's caught on a line or something like that, and just fucking drags him, man. It doesn't eat him. He doesn't fucking eat him. He just drowns him. Well, at the end of the movie, and this is like literally like, I don't know, there's like 10 minutes between when this dude dies and when he reappears. But what happens is the main guy, you know, he's there and he sees his friend like underwater dead. He's trying to like drag his body up. And of course the shark shows up, one last, you know, roar, and then grabs him and is pulling him. Of course he has that C4 strap around him. And you're like, well, that's pretty convenient. At least your friend came back to save your life. Sure enough, the dude, the shark eats him and is gobbling him up, and then he just like blows the shark up. Then gets out of water, and then we have our, I call it the Die Hard reporter slug out scene. Where, and this happened before, this is like 81, so really Die Hard, I guess you could say, kind of stole from this. I doubt they did. I mean, it's just that scene, I always call it that. But anyways, you know, as the guys come back up on shore, he's a hero and everything. The reporter who has just basically been wanting to see people get eaten this entire movie, he was just like, you know, how does it feel? You know, you're a hero, and he just fucking decks him one. Gets in the car with everybody else. Like, they all just get in this car. Like, I don't know where they're going, because there's like it's a random group of people. Like, all these guys just get in the car, and they just drive on to the sunset as the credits roll. Yes, The Last Shark. I will recommend it, I guess, if you're a hardcore fan of just shark movies. It's not breaking any new ground. I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely a fun movie to watch. Like, I was not bored at all during the whole thing. It's a bad movie, but it's fun to watch. Like, I was literally just like, oh, this is ridiculous. It takes a while to get to it, but once again, once the shark starts popping up, he doesn't stop. Like, he literally is like, you just see the shark non-stop. And it's just the same fucking roar. It's like, it's weird, because I feel like it had one shark, and it probably did do a bendy thing like this, because you see the back of the shark, and then you just see him like do this as he's coming out of the water. It's so fucking weird. So I'm assuming they had, you know, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I guess I recommend it just for the sheer fact that it's fun. It's a fun movie to watch, but it's ridiculous. It's a little ridiculous. So there's The Last Shark. There you go. That's my review on that. Then we're gonna go back even further to 1953, a little movie called Scared Stiff, starring Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. When it comes to Martin and Lewis movies, and I guess I should say this is definitely more, not really horror, it has horror elements in it, but this is definitely more of a comedy musical, if you will, from the 50s, from that era. It has kind of a 40s feel to it, at least I thought so anyway, but I mean, it was so close to the 40s that, you know, whatever. But yeah, no, when it comes to Martin and Lewis movies, I've only seen a couple, and I've seen their, the Colgate Comedy Hour back when they used to host it. So, and I've always dug that style. Like, I actually find them funny. I dig the comedy routines. It is the same in everything I've seen them in. Like, they don't ever really change up the routine very much. It's just basically Dean Martin's the cool guy who gets the chicks. Jerry Lewis is just fucking, yeah, you know, and bumbles around, and, you know, Martin wants to, like, fucking slap him around a little bit, but they're buddies, and then they go on some kind of adventure. And that's the gist of it here. What happens is, Dean Martin gets caught kind of macking on the the head mobster's wife or girlfriend or whatever, his main squeeze, and the person who just did that recently just winds up dead, right? So they're coming after him. Well, Jerry Lewis, and I forget names, like, I think his name's Myron, and I don't forget, Larry, I think is Dean Martin's name. I'm going to just refer to him as Martin Lewis, because fuck it. So, you know, Jerry Lewis decides he's going to try to help his friend out. Because, like, you know, his friend's been helping him out, you know, his entire life. His one chance of paying back is he's going to, like, go to these, like, you know, hardcore fucking gangsters and just be like, hey, lay off my friend. And he does it, but it's fucking hilarious. It's just, you know, ridiculous, you know. Anyways, during this whole confusion, there's a whole subplot. I guess not really a subplot. That's kind of a subplot to the main plot. This woman inherits a mansion on this on Cuba, like, or an island near Cuba or something like that. And anyways, someone keeps trying to persistently buy it from her, and she's refusing. She's like, I won't go, you know, check it out or whatever. So you get someone like sent after, you know, take her out or whatever. Or some, I can't remember now. It was late when I watched it. There's a lot of things, but anyways, you get the mobsters over here on this side of the, you know, the hotel, and then you got this killer coming after this other guy who's connected to her. I don't know. Because they all look alike. I don't know why. Everybody looked alike in this movie. It was like a sinister bad guy or good guy or whatever. Anyways, there's a shootout. And now Dean Martin takes a gun with him because he's trying to protect himself from these mobsters. Well, he just kind of turns and he fucking fires. And he thinks he killed, you know, this one guy. And of course, they look, they see him, and they're like, oh, well, clearly he did it. So he's wanted for murder. He's wanted from these mobsters. So him and Lewis, you know, go on the run, and they end up going on the cruise ship with this woman, and they end up like, you know, heading down to Cuba. The horror element kind of gets to the point where they get to the island. There's a whole like history of voodoo, and the house is, you know, supposed to be haunted. Now, I was expecting to be very Scooby-Doo-ish. I mean, in the sense that there were going to be ghosts, but then you would pull the mask off and, oh my land, it's, you know, old man, you know, Smithers, and the guy who runs the amusement park. You know, I thought it would be more like that, but they actually run into a ghost on this. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's very just quick pace from this point on. Like, they're just kind of stumbling, like, room to room to room to room. It happens so quick. But one night, they run into a ghost, and they see the ghost coming out of the crypt, and they're like, we can get him. It's a game on both sides. And, of course, they run through him, they hit each other, and then the ghost gets in there. And that's it. Like, they never really go, like, because I feel like that, to me, would be like, game over, I'm fucking out of here. That's a ghost. It doesn't hamper their spirits. They keep going. There's like I said, there's a whole voodoo element there. They send a zombie to go kill this woman, and oh, it's a good time for sure. Very funny. Like, I'm just a fan of this kind of comedy. Odds are, like, Maya didn't want to watch it because it was 1953, it was black and white, and she just, she was like, I'm not having any of that. It won't be funny. She came in a couple times and started looking at it, and she's just like, this is stupid. But I like the style, the humor. Like, there's a scene where, like, when Dean Martin's doing his whole, you know, bit up on stage, you know, Jerry Lewis is fucking shit up out in the crowd, so he's like, you know, well, get up here, you know, we're going to be a part of a bit. And so they do this whole bit where, you know, he's like, okay, you're going to be married to this woman, I'm going to be, or you're going to be having an affair with this woman who's also on stage, and then I'll be the angry husband. So when he comes home, he's like, wait, what are you doing? You know, he starts beating up on Jerry Lewis, right? And Lewis is like, stop, stop, stop. He's like, what, you don't like the role? He goes, want to switch roles? He's like, yeah. So then they kind of switch the roles, and Lewis is like, you know, can I beat up on you? He's like, well, wait a second, we're done with that part, we're going to move on to the next part. So then Dean Martin gets on the floor, acting like he's got beat up, he gets back up and goes, why are you beating me? And he starts beating him. It is hilarious. They just keep going with it. It was fucking hilarious. Trying to think of some other memorable parts. We had a cameo, and I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know who it was. Like, I've never seen any of the Bing Crosby and Bob Hope road movies, but they make a cameo at the end. There's a scene where they peek into this little dungeon type room, and you see these two skeletons. But clearly they got their heads sticking out of a hole in the wall. But it's supposed to be, you know, human heads on, you know, skeleton bodies. But it was them. But I had no idea it was them. I'm looking at them, I go, you know, clearly this is a reference here. So I look it up, and sure enough, apparently Dean Martin and Lewis did a cameo in a previous movie of theirs. So then this guy can keep going back and forth. So kind of a little running gag if he was a fan of, you know, both, you know, sets of movies or whatever. But yeah, Scared Stiff, I would recommend it if you like the, you know, comedy antics of Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. But like I said, there is a lot of musical to it. Now, typically I'm not a big musical fan, but when I started watching the Marx Brothers, and I have have two different box sets of their shit back there, there's a lot of musical numbers in there, and I just kind of got into that style of music, just that old, like, you know, 30s and 40s kind of, I don't want to say swing, but just very, almost operatic, just kind of, you know, fucking a grand fucking song, and you get a lot of that here as well. And that's why I kind of reminds me of the movies from the 40s or whatever, because it just, I don't know, it just had that feel to it. So I dug it. It definitely has like an old haunted house type feel to it. So, I mean, a lot of the movies from the 30s and 40s or whatever, you know, it did have like Scooby-Doo type, you know, ending where, like, you know, it was never really haunted. There was people behind it. There was usually a scam. And that's the way it is. The reason why these criminals want her to sell the house to them, because there's supposed to be like this big treasure or whatever in the house, and you find this out later. But yeah, no, I dug it. Once again, I can see where this won't be for everybody. Especially people watching my channel, so I'm sure you guys are just more horror and that's it. But yeah, I would recommend it. You know, give it a shot. You know, try something new. You may like it. So there you go. Last Shark. Check it out. Scared Stiff. Check it out. I'm not giving huge recommendations on either one of these because these are clearly movies that you have to be in the mood to watch. If you're in the mood for some cheesy fucking shark movie, check out The Last Shark. If you're in the mood for some old school comedy, I would say check out Scared Stiff. But if it's not your thing, hey, it's understandable. You can move past it. So, guys, that's it. Won't be back till Monday. So I hope you guys have an awesome Easter. Yeah, that's it. So I'll catch you guys later. Movie Phantom. I'm out.